what you man saying? It's the Bill here. We're going to be doing the after. We're going to be doing the aftermath. The reason why I'm going to be doing the aftermath because it's the most recent story mode, and there are some like clear cons that people have been missing out on. I think there's a lot of them. Not a lot of people don't miss out. A lot of people miss out on that. So let's begin. So the first chapter is Nightwolf's chapter. Shang Tsung talks about how they need to get the crown while, restoring time and whatnot. Basically save history and make sure that shit don't happen. But here is the problem. Shang Tsung says that he needs to get the crown to, rewrite history and make sure everything is sorted and whatnot. Chronicle literally erased everything. All the events before Mk11 with the crown on top of her fucking head. Liu Kang literally destroyed the crown. How the fuck does that exactly work? How can you go to an erased timeline? And they didn't even use the different timeline argument because Chronicle only states that there's multiple timelines. She doesn't actually use the multiple timelines to her advantage. She just uses a singular timeline, the current timeline that we are in, to her advantage, which barely did fuck all, to be honest. So, in saying that, Liu Kang tells Fujin about a plan to save everyone and whatnot, get your happy ending and that shit. I'll be coming to that later because there is a lot of issues with this entire plan of fight on Liu Kang. So while Raiden and fight on Liu Kang stay back, Fujin, Nightwolf and Shang Tsung go to the past, essentially, where Cold War is locked up and Shao Kahn and Kitana are now fighting. While they're there, they basically have to make a plan to not get detected and get to the crown, as getting detected will mean a change of events. However, with time rules, if a small event changes, a butterfly effect will come from that small event and then affect everything else in advance. So I'm not sure how exactly that's going to work, because that's just honestly stupid, in my personal opinion. And that plan doesn't even work because Collector comes and checks them later on when they are in Kotal's College, when they are literally in the I don't know what's that stage called again, but it's under Kotal's Coliseum. Yeah, so that's basically pointless. And I also don't know why they didn't kill Collector, to be honest. He's literally the most useless character in the story. I mean, he's just a tax collector. And why didn't they not kill Collector for another reason? Collector could have told Shao Kahn about information about them sneaking in, or any other hidden allies, if Shao Kahn has any hidden allies. Or, in this case, Chronicle. Chronicle is basically Shao's ally at this point in the story, which will change later on. But it is a pretty dumb decision to let Collector stay there, as Geras and Frost knew about their location. So the next part of Nightwolf's chapter is they go to the Jinsei chamber and get the Jinsei, as they have a plan to revive Sindel, which there is a lot of problems there. and I'll briefly explain them. Sindar only killed the entire of squad because she had Shang Tsung's souls. However, there are a lot of problems with this. Lots of the Earthrealmers have major victories at that point. Like Cyber Sub-Zero, he took down Goro and Kitaro and Mk9. Striker also took down Kintaro. So that's basically Shao Kahn's champions. And the person who took down... And that's how Shao Kahn based how people were threats, because he managed to snap Kung Lao because Kung Lao beat Kintaro. I don't think Shao Kahn knew about Kung Lao beating Goro in Mk9, but yeah, that's how he basically decided to, essentially based who is a threat and who's not a threat. How does Sindel easily wipe the entire cast? Now that Johnny now has his new god powers, Nightwolf now has powers which allow him to basically summon the Death Beam without suicide. He can even teleport with the Death Beams, and if you want evidence of this, there is his gameplay in Mk11. He basically has two brutalities where he summons the Death Beam without suicide, and he can teleport with the Death Beam in one of his winning taunts. If you want to know what that is, just search up his taunts and then you'll see it. Yeah, so doesn't that exactly make Nightwolf more powerful than Cinder if he can summon a Death Beam without having to commit suicide, can literally teleport with them, and he can also now summon OP animal spirits? Shouldn't we not revive then instead of Sindel? This DLC did force Sindel and Shiva to come into this plot, and they basically were shoehorned into this DLC with no real explanation, to be honest. And then there's Johnny with his god powers. Why does he not summon them in Mk9? Because his entire friends and loved ones are in danger. But then again, he doesn't know them, so I guess you could say that's reasonable. But Sindel wiping the entire Shang Tsung souls now is pretty stupid, considering the powers explained in later games. But then again, even if that was taken into consideration, there will be Nightwolf's powers, and Nightwolf's powers have now shown to be greater than Sindel's at that point. So basically, reviving Sindel is basically random and a bit stupid in that regard. And if they genuinely wanted someone powerful without having to retcon someone, why not Rain? He's a demigod. And plus, it will be better because we would actually get to know where he is in the present story, since Rain came in Compact 2 in his present form. So this ain't his present time. This ain't his past timeline. This is actually the present timeline. And that Compact 2 showed Rain in, basically. And Nightwolf had these powers since MK2, since the MK2 Nightwolf of MK9 came into MK11. So this ain't the present Nightwolf that the Shang Tsung and Fujin are allying with. So why didn't MK2 Nightwolf say any of this during the revival of Sindel? Okay, so that's done. So after getting the Jinsei, Geras, he has a fight with Fujin, Nightwolf and Shang after Nightwolf beats Frost. Geras actually shows a pretty impressive feat. He fucks all of them up, which should be what he's doing to the entire cast, to be honest with you. I mean, he's a fucking miniature titan, for fuck's sake. But then Nightwolf's plot armor kicks in and beats Geras, despite the fact that he can die to increase his strength, and he has time powers, and he's basically a sun god. Keep in mind he died a billion times, so he should be ridiculously OP, but how the fuck does Nightwolf beat him? So anyway, they send him back to Chaos. They send him to Chaos Realm where they do a little teaser to Havoc. Yeah, and they'll say that Havoc will keep him entertained. Then they go to another realm to find Sindor. However, they are caught by Ronan, Liu Kang, and Nightwolf and Katana. And Liu Kang has an amulet which is able to one-shot Fujin, the god of wind, Nightwolf, the champion of the Great Spirit, and Shang Tsung, the Deceptive Sorcerer, while they are human. If Nightwolf, so Liu Kang had this amulet, right? Why didn't he use it in the base story? Why didn't he use it to kill Cass and Sonya? Well, Sonya is already dead. Present Sonya, at least. So after they get captured, they find Sindel, and she just goes through her monologues about how Raiden tortured Shinnok and how Fujin will pay for his sins. Then she talks about Shang Tsung, how he's charming, even though they had absolutely no interaction with each other while she was brainwashing Mk9. Heck, I don't even know if she even interacted with him while her realm was basically conquered, and between the time her realm was conquered and when she committed suicide, I don't think there was any confirmation of Sindor interacting with Shang Tsung on there, so I don't get why she's calling him charming. But yeah, she talks about how Nightwolf was responsible for her death, which is stupid because this is MK2 Nightwolf. MK3 Nightwolf or Mk9 was the one that killed her, and that's the Revenant form. MK2 Nightwolf hasn't got to that time yet. So Sindel blaming MK2 Nightwolf is a bit stupid. But nonetheless, Nightwolf did kill her. So after that, a fight breaks out. Revenant Nightwolf beats Sindel. There's an awesome sequence of Nightwolf showing his power, his cool fighting abilities. He can use his tomahawks as boomerangs, something like that. He frees on Fujin, Shang, and himself with a spirit knife. And he knocks down Revenant Sindor on her ass, like I said. So, after that, he beats Revenant Nightwolf, who nearly kills human Shang Tsung. That makes the claim of reviving Sindor a bit stupid. If she can get knocked down by knocked out, in fact, by a human Nightwolf, and Revenant Nightwolf, the only person to actually be shown incredible in the entire Revenant group, killing human Shang Tsung, then should they not revive Nightwolf then? Again, there's a lot of problems with this, because this is basically showing that Nightwolf can do more shit than Sindel. But then they treat Sindel as this god killer, and this is not the only time they treat Sindel, the woman characters, as god killers. They treat Kitana with Shao Kahn, Jade with Kotal Kahn, Sonya with Gearus, Cassie with Corrupted Shinnok, Jackie with the crown against Cetrion. There is a lot of... yeah, it's just bullshit. But after that, they basically, accomplish their mission and they go to Shiva. So we're going to be moving on to Shiva's chapter now. So Shiva, she basically is very doubtful of trusting Shang Tsung and the gang until Shang Tsung mentions Sindel and they bring in her body and whatnot. She was all emotional, which is good for her character. If she wasn't a dumbass, which I will be going for, it's very stupid. So after they show Sindel to Shiva, Shiva gets all emotional and says she's a protector of life, even though she wasn't protecting her at all in Mk9. She was nowhere to be seen in the main invasion in Mk9. Like, how is she talking about, feelings for Sindel when they didn't even interact in Mk9? And considering how her original bio was like she knew like Sindel all the time and she was a bodyguard, she would know information about Sindel being evil because basically that's her bodyguard. I mean that's the client she's protecting, right? And I'm pretty sure if she is the Queen of Shokan, I'm pretty sure she's pretty smart out with the Shokan. But she doesn't, for some reason. Anyway, Shiva agrees to the entire thing after Fujin does the final words to convince her, like making Katana happy, seeing her mother again. And they go to the Deadpool, where the entrance of the Soul Chamber lies ahead. Baraka and Aaron Black, President Aaron Black, mind you, show up, and they basically wonder what's in the coffin, what secrets is Shiva hiding, and whatnot. And yeah, a fight breaks out as Baraka detects Shang Tsung. A Tarkatan is killed while Baraka initiates the Tarkatan to attack Shang Tsung. I think that one Tarkatan dropped. I don't think that was Shang Tsung. Then an all-out brawl happens, and yeah, Shiva fights Baraka, and I think she insults him by the fact that these guys should speak. These guys should listen before they speak. When she is literally reviving an evil Sindel, a person who she knew all her life. That's pretty dumb for Shiva to say, and a bit hypocritical. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention, Nightwolf was really good in this chapter. He showed character when Shang Tsung tried to kill him, when Shang Tsung killed his revenant. Yeah, he's basically a demon G. But enough about Nightwolf, we're talking about Shiva. So Shiva also has a fight with Aaron Black, who Aaron Black literally says with like genuine concern, "Hold up, Shiva. You're trying to revive Katana's evil mama. Either way, this ain't a good look for you." Keep in mind, Aaron Black was retconned into a an assassin. If an ex-Black Dragon assassin is saying someone is evil, I think that should be a red card for you to think, stop, and say that reviving Sindel is not a good idea, because she is evil as fuck, according to her retcon. And oh boy, I'm not gonna go into a retcon. So, after that, they basically go into the Soul Chamber after a couple of fights. Kitana. So after Fujin does his wind abilities, and he also has some sort of sorcery as well, as he can basically revive people with aid of Shang Tsung, whatnot. Kitana detects them, and but before that happens, Shiva fights Kotal, which this time they actually gave a reasonable excuse for Kotal to lose here, because he's not fully healed. But then again, he should have been healed in the fucking Colosseum because of the fact that he has Sun as his powers. He's basically a Sun God, and he uses Sun abilities to heal himself. He was directly exposed to that, but enough of that. They gave a reasonable excuse for Kotal to lose here. And oh boy, Kotal is one of the biggest problems in Aftermath. I'll go through him in the, in the next two, in, Shao Kahn's chapter. So, Shiva beats Kotal, yeah. And then Kitana detects Shiva trying to revive Sindel on a revenant form. Kitana says that nothing should rather have her rest in peace rather than her being revived and corrupted with Shang Tsung's influence. She tries to stop it and Shiva knocks her ass out. Despite the fact that in this game that Kitana literally beat Shao Kahn. So if Kitana can beat Shao Kahn and Shiva can beat Kitana, that means Shiva can beat Shao Kahn and claim the entire Outworld Empire for herself. Why didn't she just do that then? Again, power scaling issues, there's a lot of this in Mk11. Base story and Aftermath, we're going to go with Aftermath. Yeah, so there's a nice character moment here where Sindel reunites with her daughter. It's actually pretty wholesome, not gonna lie. So Sindel is in her original character here, where she talks, and they confirm the fact that Quan Chi killed her. I don't know how, but Quan Chi ain't meant to be intervening in the history of Sindel. Honestly, she committed suicide. That's what makes her a tragic character. That's the beginning of a character arc, and having Quan Chi kill her, it's just forcing him to be this mastermind when he's clearly incompetent at MKX, and it just raises more questions. So after this nice character moment, which won't last long, unfortunately, there's basically the scene where Kronika and Cetron basically talk about how Sindel was restored. And then Kronika says that Sindel has the power to harm an Elder God. Despite the fact that Nightwolf has proven to be better than Sindel in so many cases. Nightwolf has literally beaten Quan Chi, and Quan Chi has beaten Sindel. Nightwolf has now got powers to literally summon death beams without suicide. That means he can literally summon a death beam once without having to kill himself, and he can literally teleport them. So doesn't that makes Sindel more powerful? That makes Sindel less powerful than Nightwolf, right? But with that logic, shouldn't Nightwolf be able to harm an Elder God too, since Nightwolf is now above the power limit of Sindel? But Kronika doesn't state that though. Again, oh man, this entire bullshit thing about Sindel harming an Elder God is just forced crap, if I'm being honest. It's just bullshit. Yeah, anyway, let's go to the next chapter, which is Fujin's chapter. Yeah, so my boy, Fujin, is getting his shine after 14 years. And I'm glad to say that he finally got it. He got redemption. So, Fujin's chapter. Fujin, they basically go to the Shang Tsung's island. They basically talk about how Shang Tsung is a deceiver and whatnot. And Sindel is such a fucking hoe. Oh my god. She says that Raiden is a fool, yet she hasn't even met Raiden in this timeline, or even confirmed to have met Raiden in this timeline. So how the fuck is she exactly talking shit about Raiden? I'm honestly surprised how Fujin don't fuck her up, to be honest. Oh yeah, also, I completely forgot about this. In the fight during section, the reason why Sindel's power, inconsistent bullshit powers, whatever she has, is completely unnecessary, is because in this chapter, Fujin also fucks up Noob Saibot, who, mind you, in mythologies, he fucked up all the gods. Yeah. So in that retrospective, Fujin can fuck up all the other gods, right? Because Bihon fucked up all the gods and Fujin beat Bihon. Nightwolf I already explained. And Shang Tsung, he has pretty crazy powers. Like he can summon corpses, green energy, whatnot, a fire snake. He also has some bit of fire powers. But with Fujin and Nightwolf's new feats, they can basically handle Citron on their own. Well, not on their own. The three of them can handle Citron without any help. So Sindel is completely unnecessary in Spot. So anyway, the Revenant Cabal shows up, Revenant Jade shows up, and they basically summon an army to, attack, bring Sindel, Fujin, Nightwolf, and Shang Tsung. Sindel should have had a moment where she talked to Jade about being in her corrupted state and how it dishonors Adenia, since she's one of the characters trying to save Adenia and her daughter. And if she knew about Kitana being Khan, how the fuck does she not know about Kitana not being a Revenant? Yeah, anyway, they should have had a hot conversation there, but then again they retconned her into a bitch. So yeah, there's a lot of problems there. But I'll be getting to that in the next chapter. So, Fujin fucks up Revenant Cabal. I don't know why Fujin acts like Revenant Cabal is irredeemable, even though he was a hero, but it's not that much of a big deal. And then Fujin and Shang Tsung go into this, Goro's lair, while Nightwolf and Sindel, they basically wait until Citron comes so they can deal with her. Even though they should not be able to deal with her, considering that her first fatality alone literally blows Sindel and Nightwolf out of the water. There's no way that Nightwolf and Sindel can take on a giant that is bigger than the Earth. How the fuck does that make sense? On top of that, she was also involved in the splitting of one being's consciousness, involved in the creation of the Kami Dogras, has telekinesis. Also, she has control of every single element. She has better vine powers than Sindel. The reason why I said vine powers is because her and Sindel's powers, in terms of the vines and the hair, they basically have very similar abilities, but Citron shows to have more stronger abilities than Sindel, basically. And keep in mind that Citron is a fully fledged Elder God. Not a fallen Elder God like Shinnok, a fully fledged Elder God. They should not be beating her then. And then, if Citron can easily deal with Nightwolf and Sindel, then she should easily be able to deal with Fujin and Shang Tsung later on, right? Because she's a fully fledged Elder God. What are they gonna do if they're split up? But then Sindel's plot armor kicks in and whatnot. But I'm not gonna get to that yet. So Fujin and Shang Tsung encounter Noob and Jax. They basically have a fight, and Fujin basically saves Jax from having his soul sucked. He also beats Bihon. They reckon the fact that Bihon ran away from Fujin, but then again, in one of his intros, he did say that Bihon was a formidable opponent. And so I'm guessing that Fujin really wanted to lie about that information just to make himself look good, which would kind of make sense since he is a god, and I would expect you to have some sort of god conduct. So I wouldn't exactly write that out. if the writers were trying to mean that. But afterwards, Fujin saves Shang Tsung from seeing Jax is so. Fujin talks about how, along with Kronika, Kano, Shao Kahn, Bi-Han, they're all scoundrels, and how Jax is allying with them is dishonorable. Which I'm kind of glad that Fujin mentioned that, because why would Jax ally himself with Kano, who killed Sonya's partner, and Sonya is his best friend? Wouldn't Jax try to kill Kano without Kronika watching? He would make some sort of plan to kill Kano. Why is he not doing that? That's really stupid, man. So I'm glad Aftermath brought that up with Fujin. And then we have like pretty much a pretty good character development for Fujin. He talks about how like Raiden, like he's so strict, and like, you know, he has to do whatever he can to protect Earth from us. So he's basically, so if it involves like sacrificing humans, and then Fujin tries to talk about how they try to like protect the loved ones instead of kill the enemies. They should try to like figure out solutions to handle their enemies without making themselves be as bad as the enemies, which is pretty good, as Fujin cares about humanity and mortals as a whole. He wants to deal with enemies, but he doesn't want the worst outcome for them unless they're really, really bad. He has more humanity than Raiden, basically. So after that happens, he talks to Jax about how Jackie wouldn't like it, and Sindel and Nightwolf have a fight with Cetrion, and they basically don't know that Nightwolf has powers that doesn't involve suicide himself, and then Sindel beats Cetrion, which should not happen at all. And then there's the big tag team with Fujin and then Shang Tsung help, and Cetrion's gone. So they basically talk. So then Jackie and Past Jax come in and try to arrest all of them. But Fujin shows that he has the crown, and they stop doing the arresting process, and Jackie and Past Jax forgives them. But no, Jackie and Past Jax basically, he has no problem with them after that. However, Present Jax doesn't seem to call out that Present Sindel is working with Shang Tsung, Fujin, and Nightwolf. Why doesn't he not bring that up? Since Sindel was the one who killed him in Mk9. Fujin could have said that she was brainwashed by Shao Kahn and Quan Chi, and she is actually a benevolent mother and queen of Edenia, but unfortunately they kept the retcon and whatnot. So basically, after that, Sindel heads back to Outworld to aid Katana Khan. Nightwolf goes along with the special forces, and Fujin and Shang Tsung go to the Fire Gardens. They basically encounter Sub-Zero and Scorpion, who they believe Fujin is under Shang Tsung's mind control. Fujin basically fucks up Scorpion and Sub-Zero while Shang is frozen. Fujin frees him, and they basically meet Raiden and Liu Kang. Raiden is shocked to believe that Fujin is working with Shang Tsung, the biggest deceiver there is in MK. and then Fujin shows that he has the crown to convince his brother to make sure that he can team up and they can fix time and save everyone. But Raiden believes that he's so gullible to Fujin, even though that Fujin is working under Liu Kang's plan and whatnot. So they basically have so Liu Kang tries to talk him down, while Raiden gets really pissed. Raiden tries to kill Liu Kang, but Fujin intervenes and stops him. Raiden basically becomes Dark Raiden, which should have been the main plot, honestly. I don't know why they didn't do the main plot with Dark Raiden trying to destroy the worms and the heroes trying to stop him. That would have been a good story, but they went with the shit tangent. But enough on that. Fujin, with the assistance of Shang Tsung, manages to knock him down. But then again, it seems like Shang Tsung was with Liu Kang. Like, he was literally in the corner watching them. So I don't know if Shang Tsung really assisted them. But it's probably for gameplay purposes. So yeah. So Raiden finally realizes that he's blinded, and that is pretty good character moment there. Fujin cares for like mortals, while Raiden is basically the stoic protector who got at all costs to protect Earth from, or not searching for the best solution to figure out how to stop Earthrealm's enemies and better people's lives. So after that, they have this big talk about how Liu Kang became a fire god, and then Raiden is asking for information about what happened next. Fujin tells her that information, then Kronika freezes everyone. And Kronika is so dumb in the scene when she tries to fight Raiden and Shang Tsung. So she freezes Raiden. Yeah. Why doesn't she take... If she can freeze Raiden, then why doesn't she take him away so that God Liu Kang doesn't happen? And she knew that Fire God Liu Kang was going to be a threat to her in the new era, so why not you take Raiden? So anyway, she defeats Fujin and Shang Tsung initially until Fujin gets the crown, which she could have easily gotten with telekinesis, teleportation, and her other powers. And plus, she's a fucking titan, 2 ranks above a protector god. Why did she not think to get the crown? After she knocks on Fujin. Again, Kronika is a really incompetent villain. There's a lot of shit going on about her, but I will get to that later. Fujin basically wears the crown, and he basically forms this super sick tornado. Shang Tsung also unleashes his sorcery. Raiden becomes free, and he fights her, and with the power of Fujin with the crown, Raiden and Shang Tsung, they basically send Kronika away. So after that, oh yeah, I also forgot to mention that Shang Tsung made the crown. Why would Kronika trust Shang Tsung to make the crown? And that makes no sense. You have infinite timelines, Kronika. Kronika has infinite times to see whether Shang Tsung was a betrayer or not. And there was clear evidence that Shang Tsung was going to betray Shao Kahn at some point. Even in the original timeline, which she knew about, Shang Tsung was a betrayer. So why would she trust Shang Tsung then? Why not you trust Geras and Szechuan? But then again, there's a lot of problems coming with them because Szechuan and Geras have their own motives. They don't show it in the story, they show it in the arcade ending though. I have a lot of problems with that. So after that, the worst chapter I think one of the worst chapters in Mk11's story mode as a whole, Sindel and Shao Kahn. And I think they completely ruined the Khans in this fucking chapter. Oh man, it's so stupid. It's actually the most stupidest chapter I've ever seen. Sindel, she's such a hoe. She's there's that like Kitana is like weak when she defeated Shao Kahn. Anyway, what am I doing? Oh, give me a second. Okay, so Sindel talks to Shang Tsung about how they're gonna, invade Kunoka's Isle and claim the hourglass for themselves to get this superpowered empire and whatnot. Kitana meets Sindel. Oh, Sindel's basically like enter in the most bitchiest fashion. And then Sindel also talks about how marrying Liu Kang is like such a shit thing, and she calls him a peasant, even though in this timeline Liu Kang beat Shao Kahn. How the fuck does that make sense? And she's all about power as well. Wouldn't she ally with Kitana at that point? Because Kitana in this game, despite how bullshit it is for Kitana to kill Shao Kahn, yeah, and beat him as well, Sindel would rather ally with Kitana because Shao Kahn is weak. Shao Kahn has now lost to Kitana. Kitana is now weaker than Jer, as Sindel states. So she would be aligned with the strongest person that is available to her, and that would be Kitana. Why does she ally with Shao Kahn? Yeah, anyway, getting to that. So she basically goes to this, it's under what was called. Yeah, the trap dungeon. Yeah, that's it. That's the name of it. So she basically goes to the trap dungeon where she finds Shao Kahn beaten up by two Shao Kahn jobbers, and there is a lot of problems. His eyesight is the only thing that's damaged. His body is completely fine, and he has soul magic. Being blind doesn't stop you from using soul magic. If Shang Tsung can use soul magic to heal himself, why can't Shao Kahn do the same? And that means if his body is completely fine, that means he can still attack the Shao Kahn and kill them. So why is he getting beaten down by them all of a sudden? But nope, let's make Shao Kahn the biggest, weakest idiot in this entire story, because that's literally what he is. He is literally Sindel's dog the entire story, and he doesn't even know it. Oh my god. There is a lot of things wrong with this chapter. Okay, and then Sindel calls him husband, and Shao Kahn is all of a sudden in love with Sindel, despite the fact that there were many instances where Shao Kahn did not give an absolute shit about Sindel. He only revived Sindel in Mk3 just because he wanted to legally invade Earth. That's it. That's all he wanted to do. There was no implication of having sex with Sindel. Do not to make him. I'll talk about that later. Yeah, but anyway, Sindel was only revived by Shao Kahn just to have a legal excuse just to invade Earthrealm, which failed. In Deception, he literally invaded Dinya just so he can get the Dinan Kami Dogu. And that's in one of the intro dialogues with Kitana and Shujinko in Deception. In Armageddon, he literally battered her out. In MK9, he only revived Sindel because Quan Chi said so. Yeah, I also hate the fact that Quan Chi stole Shao Kahn's plans. But there is no cons without goods. And there is a good in that. Shao Kahn doesn't give a crap about Sindel because the only times he mentions Sindel, he feels like he's frustrated and he doesn't give a shit about her. And she seems like, to him, another liability. And then in the end of Mk9, if he really did love her, why did he give her soul away to Quan Chi at the end? Like, it's his soul to control. He has all the possession. He is powerful than Quan Chi. Quan Chi wasn't going to do shit to him because Shao Kahn is more powerful. He has all the leverage there, yet he gives the soul to Sindel, and yet he knows. It's very stupid. And Mk11 made this even more stupid with the fact that she literally has an arcade ending with the hourglass. The fucking hourglass. She literally enslaved Shao Kahn. The retcon version of Sindel literally enslaves Shao Kahn. Why would Shao Kahn trust this version of Sindel at all? If anything, Shao Kahn would rather kill Sindel in that case than actually ally with her. So anyway, Shiva finds out that Sindel has betrayed her. She talks about crushing their enemies, which I will get into that because there's a lot of things wrong with that. And she talks about how Jared is a weak king, Kitana is a weak Khan. Yet Shao Kahn got beaten up by. Also, let me just stop this review here. Shao Kahn is one of my favourite characters along with Fujin, so it is very disappointing to see him go out like this, being a complete bitch boy to Sindel. That's unfortunately what he is. That's just fucked, man. Same with Cole, but I will get to him later. But anyway. So Shiva becomes this biggest dumbass and acts like, oh, Sindel is so evil, why is this happening and whatnot. Like, bitch, you literally knew her for the entire life as a fucking bodyguard. How are you surprised by Sindel being evil? Again, and then Shao Kahn revives himself in the soul chamber. In the soul chamber where he gets more powerful. I don't know if he returns to his normal state, or does he become more powerful than his normal state, because that would explain his victory over Liu Kang. Otherwise, his victory over Liu Kang does not make any sense at all, especially given the fact that Liu Kang has now confirmed to have Onaga's fire, and Onaga is literally stronger than Shao Kahn. Heck, Shao Kahn needed poison to literally kill this motherfucker. And if Liu Kang has some powers of Onaga, which he does, he has red sorcery, he has some red energy sorcery, he can summon OP dragons, he has Onaga's fire, he can teleport. Oh my god, man. It's pretty stupid. He also has like ridiculous strength. Like, it's above the average human, essentially. And how is Shao Kahn beating him all of a sudden in his normal state? Again, the game could have confirmed that Shao Kahn is now more powerful than his normal state, which is why Shao Kahn beat Liu Kang. That would make sense, but they don't do that. Yeah, so anyway, Sindel and Shao Kahn hug each other, and they're like, and he's like, wife, how I missed you. And he talks about how Quan Chi was an evil cunt and whatnot, despite the fact that you literally allied with him and literally acted very frustrated that when Sindel came up, you literally said things about Sindel that makes us assume that she was a liability to you. So why are you all of a sudden giving a shit about Sindel? But oh man, He doesn't even detect Shang Tsung. And also, with this new Sindel retcon, yeah, that basically takes away his only credible victory in all timelines. He basically invaded Edenia, managed to kill King Jared through a plan. This plan was basically use Shang Tsung as a baby to blindside King Jared. King Jared was also fighting Lin Kuei as well. And he had them shook. He actually showed powers. And then when King Jared was ready to the Lin Kuei, Shang Tsung and Shao Kahn literally came out from behind and killed him. Actually, didn't kill him, but they basically attacked him from behind, and Jared was still wanting to fight. And this was in the Mk2 Malibu comics, if we want to see that, basically. So Shao Kahn there is presented as a cunning, powerful emperor, while also giving credibility to Jared as a powerful king, as Shao Kahn needed Shang Tsung to aid him in killing Jared. It gives credibility to both characters. But with Sindel's retcon, it does not do that. It makes Jared seem weak, and it makes Shao Kahn look incompetent, because he has to use his allies to get what he wants. He can't do this shit by himself. Granted, he used Shang Tsung to help kill Jared, but he made that plan. He made the entire plan. With Sindel killing him, that literally takes away all of his credibility of conquering major realms. Like, it's very stupid as well, because Sindel is basically a bitch in this timeline, despite the fact that Mk9 said completely otherwise, and she was brainwashed to be a complete bitch. And she literally has a plan to enslave Shao Kahn. So how the fuck does that exactly work? So then anyway, after Sindel and Shao Kahn finish the hugging moment of husband and wife and whatever, Geras shows up, and he basically talks to them about allying with Kronika, and Kronika has need of them. So Shao Kahn realizes that Kronika essentially betrayed him. I mean, he should have done that earlier in the story, but late is better than never. So then he fucks up Geras, which is completely stupid, because Geras has died 1 billion times. He's also a sun god and a time lord. And being a god doesn't save you from time manipulation. As we've seen in Nightwolf's chapter, Geras literally used time powers on Fujin and fucked him up, along with Shang Tsung and Nightwolf. So how can he not do that against Shao Kahn? And Kronika has infinite timelines of knowledge. So she would have found out about Shao Kahn's soul-absorbing ability and make that way more powerful and implement that into Geras, which would literally make Geras more powerful than Shao Kahn. And he died 1 billion times. So what is the excuse here? Again, the villain chapters in the story is 50-50. Shang Tsung is one of the greatest villain chapters of all time. Is basically a really good villain chapter. Shao Kahn and Sindel's villain chapter. Sindel shouldn't even be a villain. Shao Kahn's chapter is a complete mess, essentially. So anyway, Shao Kahn shouldn't even beat Geras. And the entire thing is all on shared chapters. So meaning, no, Shao Kahn and Sindel doesn't have any confirmed wins. Which Sindel does have a few confirmed wins with Jade and Shiva. But the entire fight with the Earth Roamers, none of it's confirmed on who beats who. So how am I meant to take Shao Kahn seriously? Yeah. When we don't even know how many wins Shao Kahn has on his official belt. And that's also a problem as well, because Liu Kang, in his fight against Shao in the original time, he had to have build up, right? Like go through Goro, Shang Tsung, and then Shao Kahn. He had to go through multiple stages. If we're going by the shared chapter, and we don't know who won the fight, and the devs confirm that Cinder won all the fights, how does that make Shao Kahn's claim of beating Liu Kang a bit more ridiculous? Because he has no build up of beating Liu Kang. There's no what techniques, what strategy has he developed to all of a sudden beat Liu Kang? This is basically why Cinder should have honestly been written off this chapter and have Shao Kahn do the entire thing his chapter. That way, you have official victories for Shao Kahn. Yeah. You can also confirm that Liu Kang beat Shao Kahn, because Shao Kahn also has quotes of Liu Kang being a threat, so he uses the Soul Chamber to increase his power level to beat Liu Kang. He kills Cinder as he knows that Cinder is going to be a threat to him when he gains power, as she literally betrayed him in her own arcade ending, and that was her own motives. Stuff like that would have fixed Shao Kahn by a lot. But they don't choose to do that. They basically make him a simp. But then, like, oh my god, I don't want to keep on ranting on this, but yeah. So after Shao Kahn and Cinder beat Kyrus, we don't know who it was. They basically go and invade the Special Forces section of the Netherrealm with Sonya, Past Johnny Cage, and Cassie. You can choose whoever to beat Cassie or Past Johnny, even though Cinder literally has no bloody history with any of the Earthrealm combatants, which literally makes her the fucking devourer of Aftermath. But fans don't choose to call out on that because it's just dumb and stupid, and they want to be Sims and protect their queen, whatever the fuck they want to do. And it's clearly evident in the Katana Jade when Una stands, but we're not going to talk about that. So you can pick Shao Kahn or Cinder to be Cassie and Past Johnny. Yeah, Johnny, they basically hype up to basically be a jobber, but then again, in Shao Kahn's case, it's fair because it's Past Johnny. He hasn't gone through the experience of the green powers, but MKX literally made to be where your family dies. When your family is in danger, your green halo shows, but doesn't show. They literally retcon the hell out of the green halo powers that Johnny had, and that is a pretty big inconsistency. And it's very stupid as well because MK9 literally made it to be that Johnny had that power in his disposal, and that was the first official backstory he had of that power, and you had to order him to master it. But none of this is shown in Mk11 or MKX, and it's complete, and it factors to the power in being even more ridiculous. But then again, this is partially so Shao Kahn being him makes sense. Oh yeah, and he also gives one of the most perfect lines in MK11 Aftermath. He completely shuts down Cassie Cage. That was one of the best moments in Aftermath story. If only they confirm Shao Kahn to beat Cassie Cage. Because I fucking hate that bitch so much for being corruptional. Yeah. So basically they go on the ship and Shao Kahn talks about his plans about, overtaking Karan's fleet. And they basically invade Katana's ship. Kung Lao is the first opponent they fight. Sindor shouldn't even be beating Kung Lao. Okay. Kung Lao was literally made to be Liu Kang's level, more a bit under Liu Kang's level, but a bit under Liu Kang's level should mean that he is pretty powerful. And Liu Kang also took down the Shokan champions, and they did the alliance, which he shouldn't do, to be honest. But it's there. But he shouldn't do it. Shao Kahn literally decided him to as a threat to himself, as Kung Lao could have beat him and stopped the entire reign of Shao Kahn. So that's why he cheap shotted him. If the Conqueror of Realms is considering you a threat, then you should be powerful, honestly. And Sindor should not be at his power level since he is literally just under Liu Kang's level, and Liu Kang is pretty powerful. He literally took on Shao Kahn. So and Kung Lao has history with Shao Kahn when Sindor has none. In fact, with other Romans, but I didn't mention that before. So Shao Kahn has more of a right to beat Kung Lao. Sindor has no right at all in this case. So Kung Lao gets thrown off the ship. He's still alive because his remnant is still active. And then they fight. And then, oh my god, this part is also pretty stupid. Yeah, I get that you want to show Shao Kahn as the winner between Ko and Shao, right? But don't make Ko Khan completely useless now. Because Shao Kahn also locked him up in the flesh pit. According to Mk11, Ko got a lot of retcons in the story because he was a threat. Why don't you fucking show that? And why does Ko not have his big sword? Would it have been more iconic if Shao Kahn and Ko Khan had the big weapons out with their powers and tried to fuck each other up, but in the end Shao Kahn prevails? That would be a much better fight, right, than what we got in Aftermath. The fight literally lost for 10 seconds. It's completely stupid. And honestly, Cole is also another one of my favourite characters, so I am pretty disappointed with the way they treat him. They always treat him to be such a jobber. Literally, he was needed to stop a blood clot Reiko, fucked up Brain twice, beaten Melina, beaten Tanya, beaten Baraka, killed King Gorbak without any buffs, who is stronger than Goro, and Liu Kang beat Goro. Mind you. But Kotal killed King Gorbak, who is a stronger opponent than Goro. So wouldn't Kotal Khan be more of a threat than Liu Kang in that case? And then they completely retcon him into a fucking racist and a hypocrite. Why is he aligned with the Tarkatans if he hates them? No, why is he even being racist towards the Tarkatans? Yeah, I get it that they invaded you in MKX. They literally invaded Outworld and his entire carriage and whatnot. But that doesn't give you right to be racist to them, especially the fact that Tarkatans can change sides now. That's completely stupid. There's a lot of things wrong with Kotal's character, and they completely buried him in Aftermath. Oh my god! But I don't want to even go through that. So, Sindor beats Jade. By the way, Jade is still alive past Jade. Yeah. And Kotal is knocked out. And then Sindor reveals her entire background about being a complete hoe, which is honestly one of the worst retcons in all history. And anyway, yeah, and also, why doesn't Kitana kill Shao Kahn? You've beaten Shao Kahn in the base story. Why don't you kill him? He's a fucking conqueror. He's not gonna stop conquering now, is he now? He's gonna continue conquering. It's best to kill him. It's like Sindo's inclusion literally made every character so fucking stupid. Heck, Sindo literally gains her army of everyone being stupid. Like the Shokan don't even question what Sindo did to Shokan and Shiva. They were literally right in front of her. Yeah, and then Sindo... Yeah, what was I saying? Well, yeah, and then Sindo reveals her entire backstory about her and her, which causes a lot of plot holes, which I do not want to get into. I think every single YouTuber has covered her plot holes. There are some few more, like how is Katana not evil? Then... how did Quan Chi exactly plan the entire thing? Why did Sindo even marry Jared? What did Jared even see in Sindo? Oh man, and there's probably a fuck ton more. But after that, that's it. We're now in the final chapter. Shang Tsung. Now this chapter is really good. So yeah. They basically break the door with Fujin wearing the crown. Fujin is temporarily weakened. Raiden leads the charge and whatnot. And Raiden, Shang, and the gang fight against the Netherrealm Horde. They basically fuck them up. Raiden shows his lightning abilities with his lightning swords and whatnot. So that means he can summon the lightning swords without using the amulet, since this is past Raiden. And then Liu Kang shows up, and they begin to fight, but then Liu Kang has his knee crushed by Shao Kahn, which Shao Kahn shouldn't even be beaten, to be honest, unless he develops some sort of new strategy or he gained a power buff, but they don't confirm that. But I already stated that, last chapter. So, afterwards, yeah. Raiden finds out that Shang Tsung's been plotting the entire time, and he basically calls out Shang Tsung for it. And this is the most dumbest scene. Fujin gives the crown to Shang Tsung because he knew of the plan and what was going to happen. But didn't Fujin tell Raiden the plan? Why doesn't Raiden snatch the crown of Shang Tsung when he's doing his monologue? There was so much time as well. Oh man. It's very stupid. This story is basically one big... Basically, if you turn your brain off, you'll like the story, but as an Mk11 fan, you might not like it. In fact, might even hate it. Yeah, so Raiden becomes a complete dumbass, and that Shang Tsung take 30 seconds to put on the crown and become Soul Titan Shang Tsung. Raiden and Fujin lose to Shang Tsung twice, with them getting their soul sucked. Shao Kahn and Cinder, or should I say Fort Do, to be honest. Shit. Yeah, so Shao Kahn and Fort Do meet up with Shang Tsung, and they talk about finishing them, but Shang Tsung wants to save them for their powers, and they want to siphon them for eternity and whatnot. Oh, wait a second. He also beat Nightwolf as well. And there's a good character moment with Nightwolf where he's like the selfless noble warrior. Like, how does it feel like the man who dies with you? And then the mantle will live on and he will die fighting. Nao's character is pretty good in this. I feel like he gets a lot of I feel like he's very underrated. Yeah, so anyway, Sindel, Shao Kahn, and Shang Tsung. Foto, Shao Kahn and Shang Tsung, they basically meet up. Kronika basically sacrifices Szechuan, which should make her extremely OP, since now you have a Titan with the power of an Elder God. So, after that, Sindel, Shang Tsung, Shao Kahn get to the hourglass. They beat the revenants, and Shang Tsung kills Kung Lao. Katana kills Katana, and Sindel kills Revenant Jade. You know, for being a villain, and also I forgot to mention this earlier. Sindel says that she wants to crush her enemies, yet she only killed one person directly, and that was Revenant Jade. Everyone else she left alive. And it's even more dumber with Johnny Cage, because Johnny Cage has a present version of himself which can literally be a threat to Shao Kahn, because he has more experience of the Halo. And that Halo is designed to take Elder Gods, and it's not restricted for any other opponent, right? But Fortdale doesn't kill him for some dumb reason, to be honest. And even if they want to talk about breeding slaves, I don't think that Sonya and Johnny can breed that much traditionally. So it's a bit stupid on her part. So Fortdale doesn't even fit the needs of a basic villain. Which is basically dumb, because if you're gonna write a character to be this villain, even though it's an awful retcon, have them do the basics with that. But if they can't even do the basics, oh man, she's a shit villain, man. Oh my god. Along with Kronika too. So basically, Shang Tsung does a soul blast on Kronika. Shao Kahn and Sindel go up to Kronika, ready to kill her. And yeah, Shang Tsung betrays them, and he talks about how they will serve him in the new era. And then the biggest bitch boy moment of Shao Kahn comes here. Shao Kahn literally goes up first without question. Shao Kahn is not a compassionate guy. He's a dickhead. He's an evil, smart dickhead who would rather save himself than save others. Why is he... He literally follows Sindel's orders without question. He doesn't even suss out Sindel for her plans. And there were many times that Sindel was sus in the entire story world. There was one time she was doing that look when Shao Kahn killed Garrus. The other time, Sindel was hella silent when they were prepping to overtake Kahn's fleet. The next time she was silent, she's literally silent when Shao Kahn talks about how his powers will go to him. And Shao Kahn takes none of this in advance. He literally doesn't suss out Sindel, Fortdale, let alone Shang Tsung. So not only that, in character wise and power scaling wise, they got everything about him wrong. Essentially. Sindel, they also got wrong, but I want to say it's that bad of Sindel and that bad. Sindel's character assassination wasn't as bad as Charles and Cole's, to be honest. So Yes. Shang kills Sindel and thing, you know. Foto and Shao Kahn, that's the last we see of them. They did as dumbasses. Shang beats Kronika, and the Fire God Liu Kang comes to stop him. And this is the most dumbest plan. I get that I'm a bit 50-50 on Liu Kang's plan. It does do him well in terms of character development. However, on the other hand, there were way more safer ways to go through this plan. Fire God Liu Kang can literally go back in time. And given his god powers, time powers doesn't affect him. Right? And Liu Kang literally beat Setron in the base story. So why doesn't past Raiden send back Liu Kang from the point where he is in Shang Tsung's island, gets the crown, and he literally becomes OP? Or why not send Fire God Liu Kang to the point where he is literally in the base story base story final big war of Kronika and the heroes or wherever from. Why not just send him there? So he can merge with another Fire God Liu Kang and become a super Fire God, Elder God Liu Kang. See, the problem is Nightwolf and Fujin and Shang Tsung would basically be useless in this case, as Shang Tsung basically mentioned the answer to rewinding history. Liu Kang has the power to beat Setron. Where is the need for Sindel? Where is the need for Nightwolf? Where is the need for Fujin? Where is the need for Nightwolf? Again, Liu Kang is such a big idiot, and he basically becomes like a dickhead for the sake of being a dickhead, just to make sure it's poetic. But then again, it does go on the character. But in saying that, Liu Kang's plan is really dumb, having everyone die and having suffered very bad consequences in order for him to succeed. And how does Liu Kang beat Sultan Shang Tsung with the power of Fujin, Raiden, Shao Kahn, Kronika, Setron, Sindel, Nightwolf? I don't know if he stole his soul or not. Again, the power scale is absolutely terrible. They don't even explain. They could have said that Liu Kang had the amulet that Remnant Liu Kang used to one-shot Fujin, Nightwolf, and Shang Tsung, and he stole some souls since he got his powers. But no, they don't do that, man. And then I don't know which ending is canon, to be honest with you. So I don't know if exactly Liu Kang or Shang Tsung won. But there are problems with both endings. Both of them are ridiculously superpowered, and they have now the crown. If they have the crown, they have the ability to do anything they wish. Anything they can do, anything they want, they can have. What's stopping them? They can erase literally every single threat. Every single threat that's gonna be a problem to them in the new era. And these two are now ridiculously overpowered as well in terms of. So even if there was like minor villains, Liu Kang and Feng and Shang Tsung could easily dispose of them, with Shang Tsung being the more powerful version. So basically there is literally no further story, because to have a villain at this point, or basically beef will know if Liu Kang is this powerful or Shang Tsung. Yeah, so overall, this story is a complete clusterfuck. However, with some good moments. Nightwolf, Fujin, and Shang Tsung were really good pros. I did like their character development. Well, Nightwolf didn't really have character development, but he had very good character moments. And at least he didn't get like awful retcons like Sindel, Shao Kahn, Kotal Kahn, and in a way Shiva. And they didn't get their character. They didn't get his character ruined. He's the noble warrior that will sacrifice himself for Tomotoga. Fujin, he has great character development. As one of my favourites, I do regard him very highly, along with Shao Kahn and Kotal Kahn, Raiden, and Sechuan and Shinnok and whatnot. But Shao Kahn was the only other favourite that was playable in the story, and they ruined him. But Fujin, he was great. Power levels, he was respected well. He finally got his revenge against Bihan. Showed that he was the more human protector compared to Raiden. And yeah, he got good character. Shang Tsung, he was the best part of the story, to be honest, even though he's not my favourite character. Everything about him was perfect. Like, literally everything was flawless. There's only that one bit of detail. Oh, that was a bit of fun. Like he said that I'm sure that out of the eye could rule Kronika's accessory when he was the one who made it, but that's not even a big deal since his acting was just flawless. He's a threat like in the original timeline, and now that carried over to the new timeline. He's basically deceptive. His fighting style is really good in the story mode. I'll say, and it does rep the next character really well. He's smart, Basically, they really got his character nailed down to the T. So, and then there's the cons. Sindel, Retcon, like the power scaling, and the entire character is basically shut on. Shao Kahn and Kokon, both cons, honestly, they were really underwhelming, and they were pretty disappointing in the story mode. And it hurts to say that because I'm fans of both of them, to be honest. The power scaling is just absolutely atrocious. There's the inconsistencies. And Liu's dumb plan, to be honest. Yeah, so unfortunately, those cons really did let down the story and made it pretty disappointing as a whole. But I can say this: if the story was made just to make Shang Tsung essentially the main character, then they did it. Well done to them for doing that. But as a whole, it's very bad. So that's my review of the Mk11 DLC story mode. Hope you guys enjoyed it.